All right.
I should be recording. Record.
All right.
Record.
We're going live.
Give me a 3, 2, 1. Hey guys. Beautiful.
Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Make sure it's plural because we have more than one follower and podcast listener. Just want to make sure you're addressing everyone and not just in particular individual like you normally do.
I just noticed that we're both wearing gray, and it's
wearing gray,
and it's Wednesday.
So, it is Wednesday.
Isn't that funny?
What a coincidence! It's both Wednesday for us.
I know.
How uncanny!
I know.
Wow.
The stars align again.
Jeez.
As you guys will notice, I flipped my hat around so that you can see more of my face with the sun, with the light.
Yeah, I told him. He was so jealous of how gorgeous I looked. He was like, "Tory, I want to look more handsome like you. How can I do that?" I said, "You know what, buddy? Let's get some more light on your face. Let's flip that hat around and take directions very well."
I think you said first, it's impossible. Second, you can just do this one little thing.
Yeah, it makes a world of difference.
Yes, doesn't it? Tory, we have 4 very important things to share with everyone today. Mm-hmm. I know you've forgotten all of them, so I'll go ahead and lead. Do you want to do the correction? Is that what it's called? What a newspapers print a retraction?
A retraction? Sure. We get an addendum.
Yeah. That's better.
Yeah, we can go with that. An addendum.
What's our addendum?
So last episode, first of all, welcome to podcast episode 70, big Bingo. 70. On our last episode, number 69, we talked to you about Pirates of the Caribbean and how they're going to have Margot Robbie as the lead in the new franchise. And we done some more digging, and we discovered that I was actually correct. We both were correct. We both were right. But we both were right. And they're going in the direction of having 2 simultaneous franchises, or at least simultaneous movies. One, a continuation of the last Pirates of the Caribbean. We don't know if Johnny Depp or any of the other characters will reprise their roles. But they're going to continue that storyline, but also going to go with a new storyline starring Margot Robbie with the writer of Birds of Prey at the helm of that one. So
that's why you said that. I was wondering where I see. Okay.
Yeah. He always questions how correct I am. But I just want to let you guys know that just going in a couple of different simultaneous directions the Pirates franchise is, and we're excited for both of them.
Really quick, Tory, thank you for clarifying all of that. A thought came to me that I think kind of is an interesting view on cinematic universes. So in Marvel's cinematic universe, you always you have this constant story engine, if you will, of like bad guys trying to take over the universe, right? Like that's essentially what's going to keep happening from movies, but also from the what are they called? The phases.
The comics?
Of the phases.
Okay, sure.
So there's a micro and a macro level of the same problem. Guys trying to take over the world or the universe. That's the thing about. I feel like a lot of these studios are trying to engineer a cinematic universe out of stories that lack a strong central engine. Like with Pirates, for example, I kind of don't understand like what's going to keep happening to these people that requires us to like continue to watch every 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, are they trying? Is somebody trying to take over the 7 seas? Like, I don't know. Maybe they've explained this, but I've seen all the movies, and they're very fuzzy for me. But like, I don't off the top of my head, I don't know why do villains exist in these movies? You know?
Well, the cool thing about period pieces is that you always know what lies ahead as far as new technology that gets introduced to the world in general. So that could be one potential conflict, is that there are new rivals, new villains who are using these new inventions and technology to try to take over the seven seas or the world, or to stop the protagonist from achieving his objective with this new technology. And you want to see this, Johnny Depp or Jack Sparrow or whatever characters there are in the Pirates universe try to overcome the new technology with their pirate ways.
Well done. Well explored. It'll be interesting to see what direction they choose to go in, and how they try to create like a central of a constant force of antagonism. That's what I think. I wish that was the next update. It's like, oh, so and so happens, which is logical for this world of pirates, and like, oh wow, like I want to see a movie where they have to keep battling this force, that sort of thing. But I digress. Right. We're not, we don't have to dive any further into that. We can jump right into the actual topics at hand. And speaking of hands, Tory, who's your favorite one-handed bad guy? Go. You have 10 seconds. 10. 9.
Can it be zero hands?
I said one hand. I lost count.
So it has to be one hand.
6.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's say. Yeah, you can count. Kai can do a better job counting.
2.
Lizard Man, once he loses an appendage.
You mean the lizard?
No, Lizard Man. Look it up. Is
that DC? Is that one of those weird Batman villains?
It's a Dark Horse villain, actually.
Oh, shut the front door! What, Dark Horse villain?
Yeah. Dark Horse Comics, for instance, the Umbrella Academy. They're part of the Dark Horse Comics. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Interesting. Okay, Liz. All right.
FYI, I totally made Lizard Man up, but Dark Horse is a real comic book company.
Yeah. No dud is. Thanks, Tory.
Got you wondering though. You felt dumb for a minute now. Guess who feels dumb?
I'm gonna go out of my way to cross-reference everything you say. I'm gonna double check everything. Tory, the correct answer. No, I'm just kidding. Well, the correct answer is actually Darth Vader. Is that awesome? Okay. He only has one hand.
That's great.
But another famous one-handed villain is Captain Hook, and the news is coming out where Disney is working on a Hook or a Captain Hook live action movie, a la Aladdin and Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, and they're trying to find their Captain Hook. I assume. Oh, okay. I assume this is they're going to center everyone around this choice that they make, and they went ahead and asked Will Smith, and Will Smith is like, no, I'm not going to be the genie and Captain Hook. That would be crazy. I don't know.
Sure. Right.
And then, but I guess their second choice, or maybe their next choice, who knows how many people they've gone through, but they're talking to Jude Law right now, which I thought was kind of interesting. Kind of an interesting choice for the villain.
Yeah. Now, what
do you think?
So first of all, they had a Hook movie starring Robin Williams back in the 90s. So I wanted to know if it's going to. I'm sure it's not going to be an extension of that movie. It's going to be completely original from that. But I don't know. First of all, let me ask you a question. Do you need a Peter Pan in a Hook movie?
I would have to revisit the storyline, but I think because how does Captain Hook come to power? Like, he's in Never Never Land, and he is, pirating a ship of pirates, and he's after, what is he after? The clock in the alligator's stomach or something?
Right. Well, the alligator chopped his hand or ate his hand when he was holding a clock, if I do believe. Yeah. So he's searching for the clicking clock sound or the ticking tock sound of the clock to find his hand again, which was still, I guess, in the alligator's stomach.
Right. So the alligator suffers from some sort of digestion problem, I guess.
Apparently. He needs some Tums.
To answer your question, do they need a Peter Pan? No, I don't think, you could run with a Captain Hook story, his origin story. I don't know if I was if I was a writer being offered this job, I would have a lot of hesitation. It doesn't
Bringing Peter Pan into it.
No, Peter Pan or not.
Okay.
Just the idea of, they're already Disney owns pirates, so they're already doing pirates, and now you want to do pirates with singing, I assume.
Yeah, well, because I guess the Pirates franchise is more fantasy, whereas Hook could be more fairy tale.
Oh, you are drawing a thin line right
Am
there.
I want to draw this line a little further. Okay, so do you think there's a vast or very little difference between fantasy and fairy tale?
First of all, let's go back a little bit. I'm going to push back on your definition of you calling the Pirates of the Caribbean's fantasy. It has monsters. It has zombies, more or less. Does it have magic? If it has magic, I would say yes, it is fantasy. Okay. But I don't think it has magic.
Is it more adventure? Would you say?
Yeah, it's a mystical adventure franchise.
Okay, but mystical does not mean magic.
Yeah, I would not. I'm splitting hairs now, but I would say.
So what does mystical mean then? Let's draw some lines back around you, shall we?
Or I don't have enough hairs to be splitting this often. So, what? What was the question?
Fantasy versus fairy tale. But I guess I could rephrase.
Yeah.
To say more action adventure versus fairy tale. Fairy tale action.
Well,
fairy tale action. Because if it's like a live action in the way that they're going with, Jungle Book and Lion King and everything. First of all, I just thought of an actor who I'd love to see as Hook, Idris Elba. But yeah, would you make it more darker? Would you want to see a dark version of Hook? Not rated R, but more of a gritty Hook. There could be some drama there.
I entertain the idea of anything being gritty, but I can't imagine Disney would want to do anything other than make this a musical. Hook wasn't a musical, right?
They had song numbers, absolutely. They absolutely
had did?
Song. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
My memory is poor. Yeah, but yeah, it could
okay. It's not like choreographed, super Broadway-esque musicals like normal Disney, but they had the Lost Boys singing a jig.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, this news sort of shocked me, especially if they're trying to cast Hook already. That means that they want to they're moving closer and closer to production. It's just kind of a shocking move because I feel like they have a lot of different properties to do next, and I know they're doing Little Mermaid. I think they're done filming Little Mermaid. Bella, which I'm really quite excited about. I think that's going to be awesome.
Isn't Anna Kendrick Little Mermaid?
That what it is? No, it's an African American girl.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah. I remember that. Cool.
Don't forget her name. But I think the rumor is Molly McCarthy is Ursula, which I cannot wait.
Yeah.
And yes. She would be tremendous. But yeah, it's just weird. My kids aren't familiar with Captain Hook. That's kind of, it's just kind of it's weird on their part.
Okay. This is real interesting that they're circling Jude Law as Hook. I definitely see him more of a Smee. Who would you cast as Smee? Who would you cast as Hook and who would you cast as Smee? Do you remember Smee, by the way?
Yeah, he's the right-hand man he was wearing a blue and white shirt, right? And he's just bumbling and he's, he's kind of harmless, right?
He's a first mate. Yeah, he's definitely bumbling and affable and not good at what he does, but he keeps him around for some reason.
Other than Josh Gad. Because
I was going to say Josh Gad. Yeah. That's who I had in mind too. Josh Gad, for sure.
Dude, Josh Gad has the next 15 years of roles all set for him. It's just he's just the, the affable, bumbling, sometimes ridiculous side character. That's.
I loved him in the live action Beauty and the Beast.
Live action beauty. Yes. Yeah. The Gaston song. That was
the
awesome.
Gaston. Yeah. So that was look at us, two peas in a pod.
I know.
Great minds, Corey. Great minds.
Wednesday again.
Yes, it's coincidental.
All right. So we're settled that Captain Hook is weird that they're doing that. Would you agree?
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad that's settled. Other Disney news. Disney's just, it's always Disney basically. Yet another franchise they own, and they have owned, but it was just announced that it's been put into active development, Tron 3. And there's two rumors about the cast and the crew, and basically Jared Leto is in talks to star, and then Daft Punk would return to score the film as it did in Tron 2, Tron Legacy. I think that was called Tron Legacy. I don't think it was called Tron 2. But it was the sequel, more or less, to the first Tron movie.
Well, this is a little off topic, somewhat of a segue. What was the Tron-like movie starring Ryan Gosling?
Blade Runner?
Blade Runner, yeah. That movie sucked. Sorry, I just had a thought. Like, I remember, like, when you said Tron, I'm like, oh yeah, that movie. I fell asleep in that movie.
The fact
Tron was great.
Hold on, the fact that you're comparing Blade Runner 2049 or 49, whatever it's called, to Tron means that you went in with the wicked wrong expectations for that movie. Like you, wow, you. No,
I'm on the right path now, but for a second I'm like, ugh, bore me.
Yeah,
gag me with a spoon, guys.
I didn't see the first one, but I heard the length and other things about it where I was like, I'm glad I did not rent that.
Right, but Tron was fun. I forget, was it the guy who starred as Captain Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four movie? Was that who was leading Tron?
No, Garrett Hedlund.
Okay.
Garrett.
So I remember the dudes in it, obviously.
Yes.
I couldn't remember but I couldn't remember who the star of Tron was. But I had fun. That was the fun movie. That was a very fun movie. Did not fall asleep in Tron 2. So Tron 3, is already off to a better start than freaking Blade Runner 3116 would be.
Yeah. This is another announcement that I kind of say to myself, like, there is no obvious like story point to jump onto, like no
Absolutely
story
not.
block.
It's just a cash cow. They just know that people, if they put it up, it'd be visually striking. Daft Punk brings a huge audience of their own fans that would go see the movie just because they scored it. So it would be an obvious box office, hit.
Yeah, you would hope so. And I think too, a factor that played into to Disney like remembering this property, let's say that, because the first movie came out the second film came out in like 2010 or 11. It's been quite a few years. And it underperformed. It made some money, but it underperformed. But thanks to social media, like I've seen Tron Legacy like trend a few times on Twitter. And, people find, have come to that movie later on and said, oh, this is a good movie. I really, Olivia Wilde's in it. That was her like first big role. And she broke out from that. I think it's aged well to some degree. I watched it pretty recently with Mace, but I can't remember what I thought about it. But I think social media has actually helped this movie, this franchise kind of stay alive, keep some breath in its lungs. So that's cool. That's cool that can work. Sure. For franchises that are on the bubble like that, because they didn't have to make a third one.
Speaking about franchises that are on the bubble and more Disney news, the Russo brothers, who have directed the biggest film in box office history, said that they would be interested in taking on the next Star Wars project. Did you hear about this, Cord?
First of all, my garbage men are interested in taking on the next Star Wars project. But yeah, I actually did. I read that today. In fact, yeah.
They said they would only be first of all, they have their pick of whatever they want to do next, because they're arguably one of the most sought after duos, director wise. They have their pick of whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I feel like they could potentially do something. I think whatever they do next is going to be held up to the standards of Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. Nothing that they do next is going to be like, oh, that was just as good or was on par as Endgame, because once you set the bar so high, it's super duper hard to continually meet expectations.
Tory, let me ask you a question. Would you watch a movie that the Russo brothers directed and Chadwick Boseman starred in?
12 Bridges, I believe it was called.
Yeah, did you watch it?
I did not watch it.
Yeah, like it's shocking how you would think the Russo brothers would be like, gold, like anything they could they touch is gold.
Right.
That's not how it works anymore.
No.
Like they have their pick of the litter when it comes to like, oh, this is $1 billion franchise and we want you to do the next one. That's an exhausting process. They don't want to jump into that again, without a lot of serious thought.
Right.
Do you want to finish your thought? I interrupted you.
And on that note too, they had content that was already established. They were Marvel is all about comic books, so they have the stories already kind of laid out for them, and then to take their artistic liberties directing. But with Star Wars, there isn't really anything it's not a comic. There isn't any. Well, there's literature, but there's not anything that that they can take from and explore further.
Yeah, there's no mythology going forward. Yeah.
So they said they love what Jon Favreau did with Mandalorian, and they would want to go in more of that route, not really continue with a Skywalker saga or anything regarding that. But I don't know. If they did come around to it, I'm sure it would take them a lot of time to figure out what exactly is the right move. And they definitely should not rush into it for their own career's sake and for just the legacy of the whole Star Wars organization. Because, if Star Wars announces that they're going to be having the Russo brothers work on a project, a lot will be hinged on that success or not.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And just to make it painfully clear, I'm freezing a little bit. Okay. My opinion on Star Wars is like they need to do a dead stop and they need to figure out which direction they want to go, and then they need to have Kevin Feige sit down in a room with their smartest people, and they need to plan out like 10 movies ahead. They need to plan out this next phase, before they hire anybody. Like no one's going to get me excited until they say, "Hey, we've planned out our next phase here," whatever they want to call it, or whatever, naming system they want to use. That's the only news out of the Star Wars world that I'll get excited about, unless they say season 3 of Mandalorian is coming out as well, right next to season 2, So that's what I have to say about that.
I agree. They need to bring some help in. They can't just rely on 2 guys to continue. Want to go with you.
Yeah. Let's see here. I hope the connection's okay. But all right, Tory. So let's move on to the final topic. Can you hear me okay? I'm getting worried now. Tory, speak to me. Might be just all right. I hear you. I hear you now. Now I don't hear you.
Fantastic.
It might just be the cord show. All right, Tory, I'm gonna okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
Jiggle your Wi-Fi.
It's not the Netflix time.
All right, so the final topic we're gonna discuss, hopefully, is news coming from the cinematographer, which is kind of an interesting source, but a very good one, because he's on the set of the movie and he's one of the power players there, knowing everything about the movie.
And he's worked on several other great franchises and great movies as well.
Right. I don't have his name because I'm a poor, recorder, but the cinematographer to the Batman is saying that the who's in charge of this movie, the Matt Reeves movie, the new Batman movie is it's going to center on Bruce and Alfred's relationship, and I'm for me, screenwriter, I'm really interested. Like, that's interesting news because like the central relationship of any movie, like that's where you're going to get the heart of the movie, and I care most about the heart of any movie, and that's exciting because I feel like that hasn't been explored, that hasn't been gone deep through in any of the movies so far. Tori, what do you think?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I feel like the best relationship that we've seen between Bruce and Alfred was on the show Gotham, and that's because it centered around, well, it wasn't even centered around Bruce Wayne, it was centered around a young James Gordon before he became a commissioner. But that was the best relationship that we've seen between Alfred and Bruce, because he was raising him from a preteen, a teenager. I'm a big fan of the show Gotham. I think that they explored that relationship very well. I think it was great overall. But to see an adult Bruce Wayne becoming Batman and his relationship with Alfred, because Alfred is his guardian, yes, but he's been with the family for a long time, and so he cares for Bruce Wayne tremendously, and he worries about him. He honestly worries about him going out, getting hurt, or just doing something that can't be undone. And because Alfred was a medic in the British Army, that's how he knows how to tend for Bruce Wayne's wounds once he returns to Wayne Manor or the Batcave. But Alfred definitely worries about Bruce. He considers him somewhat of a son. So I'm very interested to see what this relationship is, because you're going to have a character who really wants to pursue something, yet his paternal figure worried that it could cause more harm than good, at the beginning at least.
Corey, I think you've hit on it almost perfectly. I'll just add that Alfred is more of a father to Bruce than Bruce's slain parents. He's more of a parent figure. Not just because of duration, but because of how he's grown to become his accomplice in his adult life, and he's been that sort of go-to person for obviously health, but also I can't imagine as a young Bruce Wayne who's decided to fight crime, the things you have to kind of deal with and wrestle with and figure out in this very murky area of life, and you only have one confidant. You only have one guy in your corner saying, Bruce, I think you should step on the gas a little bit, or pump the brakes a little bit on this, or like that whole world. Like I feel like there's a whole bunch of tense situations between an Alfred and a Bruce that are marvelous for that are so ripe for a storytelling moment, and
right.
How they decide to end it will totally be indicative of like it'll definitely pave the way for the rest of the franchise, because you usually a relationship kind of movies end at a point, so like if that's the central relationship, I wonder what's going to happen to Alfred. I'll put it that way.
What I would also love to see, not necessarily a movie, but the relationship between Batman and Bruce Wayne. And here's what I mean by that. There are many that would argue that the main person in charge of the body would be Batman, and Bruce is the alter ego. Bruce Wayne is the true mask of Batman. He goes out in public, he puts on a facade. He is, the philanthropist playboy that, just is in the spotlight just to uphold appearances so Batman can truly do what he was created to do. when Bruce's parents were killed when he was a child. That's when his kind of psyche split and broke, and that's when Batman kind of took over. So I would really love to see some content, whether it's like a graphic novel or a mini series showing the relationship between Batman and Bruce Wayne, and subsequently the relationship between Alfred and Batman, and not just Alfred and Bruce, but Alfred and Batman, and see because Batman doesn't like partners. That's why he was always standoffish to literally having everyone work with him, whether it's Robin or Batgirl or Catwoman or whoever. If how he finally learns to trust Alfred, even though he's grown up with him.
Yeah. Tory, you just pitched probably the hardest Batman movie to write. This Batman versus Bruce Wayne kind of relationship movie, but also the one that I think would get like the best picture. Like,
sure,
that would have the best chances because it's such a serious, like, it reminds me of Moneyball, and I love Moneyball, the Brad Pitt baseball movie. And I say it's a baseball movie, but like there's like zero baseball in that movie. Like it's not about baseball, and that's what you're pitching here. Like a Batman movie that's not about crime fighting. It's about like the decisions you have to make, and the two, like I love everything you said, man. I'm going to steal it and for a meeting.
Please
one
day.
Do. And
I give you full permission.
And that's like, superheroes are these amazing characters. Like we're fascinated by superheroes because it does give us a chance to like really examine life in a very unique way. Sometimes, Superman too. Like there's all these Superman stories where you're like, especially in the comics, where you're like, man, why isn't this a movie? Like this is a deep movie. I hold everything up to Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man, because I felt like that was a perfect blend of action and fun, but also like this horrible choice that only a superhero needs to make,
Right,
and like,
right.
Those are the stories we deserve from these studios, the Batman and the Superman. It's like, what's the biggest problem only they could face, and
Sure.
you just pitched exactly what I would want to see. So that's great, man.
Awesome. I feel like it's along the lines of what Joker was in Todd Phillips's direction, because there wasn't too much background from the comics regarding Joker, and he made it real. It's about him. Honestly, like I said, after I saw Joker, it wasn't really about this comic book villain. It's about this guy who had mental health problems, who couldn't get the help he needed, and if we kind of take that same approach regarding Batman in a split psyche, just make it real, that would be I think it would be just as much of a success and a hit as Joker was.
Yeah. Well said, man. Right. Well said. Well said, Tory. Do you want to make any other further comments or any other bits of news that we've glossed over the past 24 hours?
No, that's it. That's all I had coming into this.
Your favorite number, episode 70. Oh my goodness. What a great Wednesday.
It is. It's a great Wednesday for me too. How coincidental.
Yeah,
wow.
I know. This is great. Tory, where can they find us?
On all the socials, they can find us at Cord and Tory Show on Instagram and Twitter, and also by searching what's my name? Tory, the Cord and Tory Podcast Show on Facebook. They can also listen to us. Where can they listen to us, Cord?
They can find us on YouTube, on Stitcher, on Overcast, on iTunes Podcasts. I think they like rebranded their name or whatever. No longer on SoundCloud, so forget I said that. And wherever else you can get your podcasts. They get siphoned everywhere, so
yeah,
they get sprinkled everywhere.
Totally.
Tory, thanks so much, man, and everyone out there, have a great rest of your week. Okay.
Absolutely. I hope all of you guys are having fantastic individual Wednesdays as well, or whatever day this is whenever you listen to it. And catch you next time.